Calling to order the meeting of Gladstone City Commission Monday, September 8th, 2014 at 7 p.m. First item on our agenda is invocation. All rise, please. Commissioner Nemechek will lead us in invocation.
Let us pray. Lord God, our Heavenly Father, we meet tonight as a free people in the city of Gladstone, tackling the issues of the day. Give us insight, give us strength, give us courage, give us understanding. We ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Mackey?
Here.
Commissioner Gay?
Here.
Commissioner Bostwick?
Here.
Commissioner Mattinen?
Is excused.
And Commissioner Nemechek.
Here.
Next item on our agenda is public comment. Would anybody in the public like to take the speaker and address the City Commission tonight? No takers? Very good. The first item on our agenda is consent agenda. We have the City Commission regular meeting minutes of August 25th, 2014. We have the City Commission workshop meeting minutes of September 3rd, 2014. We have Parks and Recreation Board regular meeting minutes of August 5th, 2014. We have the DDA regular meeting minutes of August 12th, 2014, and we have payment of bills on our consent agenda tonight.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda with all the items listed.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Nemechek, supported by Commissioner Gay to approve the consent agenda as presented to the Commission tonight. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion is carried. Moving on to public hearings and unfinished business, we have nothing in either one of those areas, so we're moving to new business. The first item on our new business tonight is a special event application from the Michigan State Police for an open house. The city manager, I think, will take this.
Yeah, this
Carla?
is, last year they started this similar to last year. The only request of the city is for some barricades to block off Lakeshore Drive for a short period of time there during the day. Looks like good community event, good activity. A couple staff members and I went last year. It was pouring rain, so I hope it's not raining again this year, but they had a lot of good information.
Comments from the Commission?
No issues with Public Safety Director for the lane closure. I'd move that we authorize a street closure on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2014 for Lakeshore Drive between 9th and 10th Street from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Additionally, the use of the large pavilion with trash bins and bags, the restrooms at that location, and closure of the ball field in case of helicopter landing.
I support it.
Motion Commissioner Gay, supported by Commissioner Bostwick to approve the Michigan State Police open house. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I assume Officers Williamson and Harris will be providing security. Just checking to see if you're listening over there. Always. Yeah. Next item on our agenda is special event application from the Gladstone High School baseball boosters for the Grand Slam Fall Classic. Darla?
This is their third annual run-walk event, September 27th. I think this is the one, not much of the route is in the city, but we still pass it around department heads, public safety. No issues with this one as well.
Commission?
I move approval.
Support. Motion Commissioner Nemechek, supported by Commissioner Gay to approve the special event application for the Gladstone High School baseball boosters Grand Slam Fall Classic. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion's carried. Next item on our agenda is a Housing Commission appointment. We have a couple of openings on the Housing Commission. The director, Mr. Lindahl, has spoke with me about getting those positions filled, and we have one person who we're being asked tonight to approve. Housing Commission appointments are made by the full commission and do require a motion and support and a vote. The lady who's applying is Pamela Bialik. I know Pam. I can recommend her to the commission.
I make a motion that we approve Pam Bialik to the Gladstone Housing Commission.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Bostwick, supported by Commissioner Nemechek to approve the appointment of Pamela Bialik to the Gladstone Housing Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion's carried. Next item on our agenda, the Superior Trade Corridor Next Michigan Development Corporation, Resolution 2014-06. Commissioners Nemechek and Bostwick and myself, along with the city manager and the city clerk, attended a meeting last week, Escanaba City Council meeting, where they discussed this matter, and the very next night they approved this matter, so it's coming before our commission as well. The gist I got out of this from the meeting was all those entities that are foolish enough to continue to try and develop commercial industrial business on their own are not going to get a whole lot of support from the state, but those who work in conjunction with the local units of government that are their neighbors, in this case Marquette and Delta County, which is a pretty big area, will receive support from the state in the area of marketing and possible grant funds and some of the tax abatement programs. And so I think it's pretty much a no-brainer, but the city manager, would you like to add anything to that, Darla? Or?
No, that was pretty good.
I would move approval. I attended the meeting and gathered that this particular corporation that's being set up will come to the top of the list when it comes to receiving funds and grants from the state of Michigan, and without this we will not be in that position.
I'll support that, and you know, just a little additional commentary there. As I mentioned in the special meeting that we had earlier, one of the things we've definitely identified over and over that growth is a problem. Lack of growth is the problem, a problem. And my belief is that without growth in the commercial and industrial areas, we will never have growth in the residential areas. So anything that we can do that that assists and you know, helps us develop more industrial and commercial in the city is definitely a plus.
So there's been a motion by Commissioner Nemechek, supported by Commissioner Gay, to approve the Superior Trade Corridor Next Michigan Development Corporation Resolution number 2014-06. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion is carried. And tonight we have the City Hall cleaning contract. We received 3 bids for the routine cleaning in City Hall from Rent-A-Maid, from SCI Cleaning, and D&L Janitorial. Staff is recommending we move forward with D&L Janitorial at $132 a week. Darla?
Yeah, this is coming before you. That, you know, I believe that the dollar amount is less than $5,000 a year, which I could approve internally. But just wanted to, you know, we used to have a full-time custodial position. In the last union contract, we bargained that away. So just for informational purposes, that is all taken care of now. The custodial position is out of the union contract. We've been having D&L clean for us on a temporary basis, but now we went out for bids to hire them permanently, you know, on a little bit longer term basis. Once we get this secured, then we can have some, you know, our carpets need to be cleaned, some more intensive one-time kind of cleaning thing to get us up to speed and continue from that. So thought it was worth bringing it, you know, to the full commission for this is a change of service basically within the city. So
Comments from the commission?
I'd move that we accept D&L Janitorial's bid.
I support.
Motion Commissioner Gay, supported by Commissioner Bostwick, to approve the bid of D&L Janitorial for City Hall cleaning services bids. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion is carried. Moving on to the city manager's reports.
this is a week for me full of meetings. Starting tomorrow, I have the OSF Community Advisory Board meeting, DDA, EDC, Wednesday's my library advisory meeting, joint governmental. NIMS is on Thursday and EDA is on Friday. So meetings, meetings, meetings. I signed a letter of support last week. Just wanted to share with everybody. From the Chamber of Commerce, they're trying to get our local UP State Fair some legislation passed to basically define UP State Fairs or a state fair. So not every other community can say they have a state fair in their community. So it's gone back to the Tourism Committee Chair, Representative Peter Battaglia. So I went ahead and signed a letter of support for that. I think our local fair brings a lot of tourists to the area, and we do benefit. I know our campground is busy the whole week of the fair every year, so wanted to show our support on that. Our audit is just about done, and so we need to schedule a review with the commissioners and the auditors and staff. I would like to suggest Monday, September 22nd, before our next regular city commission meeting, like maybe a 5 p.m. I think that usually takes maybe an hour. Does that fit everybody's
what was the
schedules?
date?
Or Monday, September 22nd.
I guess you're thinking we're all going to be here.
Yeah,
right?
you got to be here for 7, so can you come for 5 and do the audit?
Should. Yeah. 5 p.m.
If that's a go, I'll go ahead and let Ray know.
5 p.m.
Does that fit everybody's? I kind of heard.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get that scheduled. The last meeting I just wanted to mention was September 17th. We've sent an invitation to all of the commercial businesses here in Gladstone, invited them to the DDA building downtown along with the DDA board. The purpose of the meeting, we just want to get, with the businesses, is there something that we can help them promote? How can we work together on, promoting Gladstone and co-hosting events, maybe in the downtown location, that kind of stuff. So we're looking forward to that, September 17th, 12 to 1 at the DDA building. So that's all I have.
Very good. City Commission and committee reports and boards and commission reports. The DDAs tomorrow morning, as you indicated. I'm a member of the DDA. I plan on attending. I believe Commissioner Gay is going to be there.
No, the one on the 16th, I'll be there.
Okay. I'd like to see the rest of the commission there if possible. I've been seeing some commissioners there. I think that I keep stressing the DDA is a marketing arm of the city. They have the budget to do things that we don't have. So
The 17th, right, Matt?
Was it the 17th or 16th?
Yeah. 17th?
Okay, guess it's the 17th.
I'll be there. I
That's
won't be there
the-
in the morning, though.
That's a special meeting for the DDA.
DDA. Yep, with
I just-
businesses. Yep.
I just actually spoke with our
Special event coordinator.
special event coordinator regarding an issue in that building I'll have to talk to you about after.
Okay.
I can't make that meeting, so thank you for going. Does the EDC meet this week too?
Yep.
Yeah, the EDC is on Wednesday. Dave normally is at that one.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Tuesday at noon.
I'll be there tomorrow at noon
Noon.
at the electric building, right?
Yep.
Okay. Joint government is Wednesday of this week. They're going to be talking more about the free trade zone. I believe that's everything I had. I don't know if there's any other. Moving on to public comment again. No? Come on. Okay, moving on to city commissioner comments. This is going to be a short meeting. It's
Yeah.
okay with me.
Record pace.
Commissioner Nemechek.
I have 3 things. First off, I have been waved down by several campers lately, ironically. At the end of Main Street, we obviously have a sign or something that says the campground's down the end of Main Street. The campers get down to about Hoyt Pet Casket, and they don't know where to go. We need some kind of sign or identification or a little arrow pointing down. And if they get down a little further, they'll be able to see it. But when they get to that particular area, they're lost. So
Okay.
that was my first item. Second item is, at our work session today. We talked, our Parks and Recreation Director talked about charging people out of town to use some of our facilities that we're not presently charging for. I would like her to pursue that on a, I would like to hear what she really would have plans to do. And work with Director Geyer as to a plan that would be reasonably enforceable. I understand, you know, that something should probably be done in some of the facilities, but I don't know what's realistic or not. I would like that pursued by her. She seemed to have definite ideas about
Yeah,
it.
she's already passed it by the rec board.
Yeah.
So they're working on
Okay.
different areas.
The other thing is, I don't want...
This is why I always ask you guys to go to those meetings. They do a lot of discussion of those kind of things at those meetings.
Well, I've made quite a few meetings lately.
Yep.
The other item is that I don't want to lose track of the priority of replacing some of the public works equipment. And I'd like to get some kind of a priority list as to, you know, if we could kind of go at it a piece a year or a piece every other year or something. But I think we need a plan. Also, I don't think we should ignore the possibility of leasing. I know a lot of that equipment is leasable, and it doesn't necessarily have to be new equipment that's leased either, but
Right.
sometimes it comes back from one entity in excellent shape and can be leased for another period of time. So I would like him to look at that and get back to us.
For those who don't know, we had a special meeting in the City Commission tonight. It was a 2-hour meeting where we talked about capital improvements in light of the additional 1.82 mills we levied. And that was one of the items we had discussed, but we didn't take official action at our special meeting on that particular item. We did take special action on some other items. Commissioner Bostwick?
Nothing.
Commissioner Gay?
Well, one of the other items that we took action on is this city commission directed the city manager and public safety director to hire an additional public safety officer. It's one of the things that I've been kind of harping on since I got on this commission, is that we were not properly staffed in our public safety department. It was creating some serious fatigue, and frankly, all the city departments are not really staffed where they could be. We've made some improvements since I've been on this commission and have added some staff, but it was definitely time to do something about the public safety department, so we directed them to hire an additional public safety officer. We are also moving forward on pursuing a new fire truck. We've got our second fire truck's in pretty rough shape, and our newest fire truck was
18 years old?
bought 2 years after I graduated from high school, so it's time to time to work on that, getting that one replaced too. So those are two of the top items in my mind as far as priorities. You know, there's been talk about the additional 1.8 mills that's levied. I think it's important for the public to know that we are being responsible with those dollars, and we are doing everything that we can to make sure that this community maintains a level of service that the residents are used to. So that's all I've got.
It's an interesting benchmark. 2 years after you graduated from high school.
Hey, you know, I'm getting old.
Did you have hair in your head then? No, don't answer that question.
Yeah, I did actually.
I kind of would have guessed. First of all, I got an email from a Wayne Sapolsky, Great Lakes Lighthouse historian, author, and photographer, interested in our lighthouse. Did the staff get that? It's on our website.
Nicole forwarded it to me.
Okay, so you have seen it.
Yeah.
So somebody's got in contact with that gentleman. At the last commission meeting, did I miss something? Mr. Hughesby and I and Commissioner Gay were going to look at the tape of a commission meeting, and nobody contacted me, so am I to assume that issue has gone away, or?
I didn't get a request
Well,
for a copy.
I think
Oh.
So I've got addressed it
Renee was taking the minutes.
I think
Okay.
that, yeah, I
Kim
think
was
that that's,
We spoke with Mr. Huseby after the meeting. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we did follow up on that. I received a letter from Emily Brewster thanking us so much for being part of the Uper ceremony. She's the one who, from Merriam-Webster, Uper is now an official word. She loved visiting the UP, was truly touched to be welcomed so warmly and honored so generously at the Uper ceremony. So thank you. And then I spoke with Commissioner Gay about this matter. I'm going to push this one to the city manager. I've gotten contacts from several people who I think probably have a legitimate complaint about our ORV ordinance. And what I mean by legitimate complaint is it's practically impossible for some people, I think, probably to comply with the ordinance. So my first thought on that is perhaps could we have the Planning Commission look at special licenses for those folks who are impacted and cannot comply, that would permit them with some, I would say, some pretty strict regulations to not comply with the ordinance?
Funny you mention that, because the last 2 staff meetings, staff and I have talked about this issue specifically.
And I imagine our police officers are getting
Yep.
tired of contacting the same people.
Paul and Kim are looking at the wording of our current ordinance and trying to amend it. And Nicole is working with Mike Kennedy from the electric department on the map, because they really go hand in hand. If we change the ordinance and say, here's where you're allowed to go, we need to have the map available for people to know that. So we
I guess
are
I was
actively
thinking more
working on that.
of a license to park at their location.
What are you talking about, RVs or ORVs?
Or
no, RVs.
off-road.
RVs. Did I say ORV? I
You
meant
said
RVs.
ORV. You said ORV.
Oh.
You listen too well. RVs, to park at their facility and pay an annual fee, have to re-up every year, have to requalify every year, that says, we've conducted a research and we agree that there's no place you can reasonably get off the street. You have a permit that allows you to park in a certain location. So as long as you don't abuse that privilege, and it is a privilege, you can continue to do the following for a fee.
I think that's a bad idea.
Well, can I, mind if I comment? We said that when we, Paul Geyer, Public Safety Department Director. When we originally passed the ORV ordinance, we said that this year, this summer,
RV ordinance.
the RV. Now you got me. Yeah. The recreational vehicle ordinance related to parking on the city streets. We said that this summer especially would be a learning summer per se. We would look and see what the main issues were. We have some residents that do have very specific, specific situations where they would not necessarily be able to comply with any part of it, of the RV ordinance. So I think we certainly can look at it again and look at doing something, but at some point you need to say, it is what it is. I think if you drive around on the city streets this past summer, we have had a much better situation in terms of congestion and the fact that the roads aren't clogged up in certain areas, or you don't have the campers and other things parked for extended period of time. We do have a couple situations though that are problems that we're going to have to address one way or the other. We're going to either have to do something like you're mentioning, or we are going to simply have to start issuing citations and telling those people that they just can't comply, and we're sorry, but
Commissioner Nemechek, what I was bringing up is I'm aware of some people who it's practically impossible to comply, and so I thought that licensing them not to comply would not create a problem for those people who could comply. I'm guessing you're thinking differently on that.
I am, because I see this lot right over here, this empty lot, that I don't know what they charge to park there, but there's no one, it's not impossible for anybody to not comply. You may not be able to park it on your property or park it near your house, but
right.
I mean, you got a big RV, you might have to pay a few dollars to store it, but you're talking about a license that would cost money. I don't know why you couldn't just park it in one of those lots, and I don't think they charge a whole lot. Someone told me $25. I don't know. Right over here by
Perhaps the fee to park on your own property might be a little more than that, so that you might figure that's a better solution.
Well, I would make it the only solution.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to look at it to say you're allowing somebody to violate the ordinance if they pay a certain fee, which
It is.
I don't
In
necessarily.
effect, that's what it's saying.
I don't necessarily agree with that, I guess. I think we either have to look at amending our ordinance to allow certain situations, you know, not with a fee to violate the ordinance per se. We'd either have to change setbacks, or we'd have to, you know, at some point, there's got to be an answer, you know, there's got to be a line drawn that says, we understand you have a corner lot, or you don't have the ability to park your 30-foot trailer on your property. You're going to have to look at storage options somewhere else, because it can't be parked on the street.
At some point, a lot of times, like the standard in my profession you use is the intent of the law, okay? Does it meet the intent of the law? What was the intention of this ordinance? The intention of this ordinance was to eliminate people taking advantage of the city street and using it as their own private storage facility for long periods of time, and blocking all of the issues that we talked about when we passed the ordinance. At some point, yeah, I mean, if you've got a camper, there's certain things that go along with it. If you don't have the room to park it on your property, then you need to park it somewhere else. But we can't have it, you know, we can't, just because it's been allowed to, or permitted to go on for, you know, however long, it created a problem. We had addressed the problem with the ordinance, and like you said, it significantly, you know, helped dealing with that problem.
We've gotten what I would consider pretty good compliance with the ordinance, but there are, I would say, a handful of situations that we continue to struggle with, because people are used to the way it always used to be, and they don't have the, you know, the availability.
You and I are
of
probably
having the
thinking of the
space.
same few handfuls of problem
Yeah.
cases, and so you've indicated to the commission at some point in time you're going to have to take stronger enforcement action if there is not a change in your ordinance, right?
Correct.
Well, things changed. 30 years ago, it was legal to drive a vehicle without a seatbelt on, I believe. I believe that was in the mid-'80s that changed. You know, now it's not. I mean, and that's just there's a lot of things that change like that, and for the better, obviously. We had a problem. We dealt with it the best way we could. I thought we had a lot of public input. More public input on that than just about anything in recent memory. So I thought we dealt with it, and we put together a good ordinance, and, you know.
Did you think it would be worth our time at all to go back and take a look at this? I thought for those people who could not possibly comply, a special license that cost them a fee that had to be, and it would have to be re-upped every year, made good sense, but maybe it doesn't.
Well, I sort of feel that if you haven't, and I know people have complained somewhat about uniformity of enforcement, you know, on some avenues, but eventually it does come back to what the ordinance says, and if they are, you know, on the street for over 48 hours, or, you know, we have to address those at some point.
If we were to, I mean, the one thing I could think of would be some of the things that are parked on, you know, some of the smaller boats and stuff like that. There's a lot of them are smaller than a car.
Yep.
You know, if we were to revisit it, I don't know. I'd be in favor of, like, the way you presented it, paying a fee to be able to violate an ordinance, or would it be a variance? I don't know. Really, that's not zoning.
Well, we have that new business up on the bluff too that specializes in storage.
Right.
And there's no reason why a person has to park it on the street. There's places you can park
I'm
it.
talking more along the lines, actually, not parking on the street, I'm talking about where they cross a sidewalk.
Yep.
Now do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but there's other situations where they have been parked on the streets, and mainly it's been attempted to be moved every few days to circumvent the intent of the ordinance. The intent of the ordinance was to make sure that these different trailers and RVs were not left on city streets for 6 months at a time. If you're moving one to the other, every couple days and trying to have them still on the streets for 6 months at a time, that's not the intent necessarily of the ordinance. The ordinance was for loading, unloading purposes, not to simply move them and, try to circumvent the 48-hour time period, so to speak, of any one time it's parked. I made the analogy when we first started talking about this RV ordinance back in 2008, maybe, or whatever it was, that if you have a 4-foot wall in your house, you don't buy a 7-foot TV to put on the house. And I know some people have owned RVs longer than they've owned their current home, perhaps, and they've, but you have to take that into account when you have the different items that, for years I paid for storage on different things that I just didn't have the room for when I lived at a previous address. It's, our goal is to not solve, everyone's specific problem, but deal with the overall problem, which was the long-term storage on the city streets.
And one of the things that I think is important, actually we talked a little bit about it at the last meeting, that, when this was presented, it was, multiple times it was stated that it was going to be on a complaint-based system. So if there was a complaint about something, it would be dealt with. I don't know, because that's going through code enforcement, but it's my understanding that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well,
but obviously, if one of the officers sees a 30-footer and it's been in the same spot for 5-6 days, he's probably going to inquire as to what's going on.
And we have, and so has the code enforcement, person, Dell. He's done that, because we still do get calls from people that have done their best to comply and have complied with it, wondering why others perhaps aren't.
Well, that, to me, then that's a complaint, which would warrant someone checking it out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I just thought it bared attention. I will say this, when people have, shall we say, attempted to convince a commission that it's less attractive to live in the city as a result of that new ordinance, there may be something to that, but by the same token, if that person were to decide that they didn't want to live in the city because of that ordinance, I don't guess that they would be marketing their property as being negatively affected by an ordinance. I think they'd be marketing their property differently than that. So I just thought that maybe we should revisit those folks who can't possibly comply because of the way their home was built.
I think we should. Probably the most important thing for the public to know is that it's a fluid situation. We had a problem, we tried to deal with it the best we could. Now we have the latitude to make small modifications here and there to ultimately still have the original problem dealt with. And we're not trying to be draconian. It's the second time I've used that word today.
I like that.
In our enforcement, we're just trying to deal with a serious, legitimate problem. So
your department's ultimately going to have to deal with this. You're either going to have to make a decision to tell your officers to start issuing citations, because I'm sure that your patience and their patience is going to get worn thin from the ones that continue saying, well, I can't comply, right? And so you're either going to issue a citation, or you're going to come back to the city manager and staff and say, can we take a look at this ordinance and tweak it so that these people don't continue to be an enforcement problem?
Almost uniformly so far, we've tried to deal with it by advising of the ordinance, having them comply, or the handful of situations, we are probably at the point now where we would have to issue citations. to force some action per se.
I think
you know.
you're going to have a handful that just don't want to comply and believe that they don't have to comply. And then you'll have to deal with them on, that particular level.
Which is probably going to be the end result of any ordinance you may have on the books. Yep.
All right.
Absolutely no reason why anyone can't comply. None.
Correct. They could
There's
find
no
other.
reason why
They could
anyone
find
can't
other
comply.
storage options.
They can put it over here, or they can go up to that new business up. There's places they can store it.
Well, and my comment before on that was, I would agree with you completely in the sense that we do not have a problem in the winter.
Right.
The
they're probably at the fairgrounds or
RVs
something.
disappear
Yep.
That's a
for the
valid
winter,
point.
and they are not blocking sidewalks in the winter. So it needs to be rethought of, you might need a 12-month storage option instead of a 6-month storage option.
That's a very valid point.
Anyway.
Well, I don't want to beat it to death, but I'm sure at some point in time you're going to have to change your approach from one of, advising to one of more stricter enforcement.
Yeah, and you're correct in saying there are unique situations
Yep.
in the city. We've had a couple where sidewalks never existed at one point, up until maybe 10 years ago. Now they are beyond their property line, and they've been used to parking that way for 30 years when the sidewalk ended prior to their property. Those are situations that, yeah, we have to try to address, and so.
Thanks, Paul. Moving on to city clerk comments.
I just wanted to clarify, I didn't hear the exact date that you guys said for the audit meeting. Was that for the next?
Next commission
Next
meeting,
commission
September
meeting.
22nd.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. And then the only other thing was MML convention registrations. I know most have got the form to me if you're interested. I wasn't at the last commission meeting. I know you guys may have talked about it, but a couple of you, I just need to confirm whether you're not going. The deadline is coming up on the 19th to get the early registration. So I'll catch up with the ones, but if you're thinking you are, yeah, let me know. All right.
Thank you. There being no further business, we stand adjourned. Thank you for coming.